Welcome to this presentation in the series Electronics, the Story of One Human Lifetime, presented by David Beams and Gary James. I am David Beams, Associate Professor Emeritus of Electrical Engineering. And the word emeritus, I might explain before we move on further. It's from Latin and it means something about a worn-out plow horse. Anyway, what I wanted to discuss in this short video are the resources being made under the aegis of the Story of One Human Lifetime concerning the design and analysis of active filters. Now, a little background information first. These resources were put together for a second semester junior level course in electronics. They assumed that the user would have some familiarity with the Laplace transform and its use in circuit analysis. However, the design tools that I will present can be successfully used without this background. You will encounter concepts such as filter order, or the number of poles generally that means the number of reactive elements, inductors or capacitors contained within the circuit. The term biquad, generally speaking, is synonymous with a second order or two-pole filter. Butterworth filters have so-called maximally flat response. That is, in their pass bands, Butterworth filters have a response that is invariant, constant with frequency. And Butterworth filters have smooth monotonic roll-offs into their stop band. On the other hand, the Chebyshev filter, which you'll hear me mention, it has some gain variation in the pass band, but it has a higher initial roll-off rate in the transition from pass band to stop band. And higher order filters are formed by cascading lower order sections. Explicitly, we combine second order sections and, if necessary, to make an odd order filter, one first order section. So a fifth order filter would consist of two second order sections cascaded with a first order section, and say a fourth order filter would be two second order sections. Okay. Resources that will be available to you under tutorials and derivations. The first is a resource that I wrote called The Concept of Q. Q, or quality factor, was something that was continually nebulous to my students, and so I wrote my own tutorial on the subject. I have a tutorial which I also wrote to supplement the textbook I was using on the Sallen-Key biquad, or second order filter, and the KHN, the Kerwin-Hulsmann-Newcomb second order filter. I have a tutorial on Butterworth polynomials, which you will need to design Butterworth filters. I have a tutorial on the Tau-Thomas second order filter. I have a derivation of the cutoff frequencies of a notch filter and a bandpass filter. There is a derivation of transfer functions of various configurations of LRC networks. I have a design example of a 3-pole, 1 decibel passband ripple Chebyshev low-pass filter. I have a derivation of the so-called pole radius of a Butterworth filter versus the passband edge. And I have a short introduction to the topic of switch capacitor filters and the topic of peaking in the response of high pass or low pass filters where the Q exceeds root 2/2. The resources that are available to you, you have an Excel Sallen-Key filter design worksheet that has tabs for low pass design, high pass design, and band pass design. You can use this to design second order filter sections using this so-called Sallen-Key circuit topology. There's also a worksheet for calculating the poles of a Chebyshev low-pass filter, and a worksheet for designing second-order sections of Chebyshev filters. So you can use the first worksheet by itself to design Butterworth filters. The two worksheets, the second and third worksheets taken together, are design aids for designing Chebyshev filters. Then you have LT Spice simulations that you can download and run. There is a design example of a 4-pole, low-pass, 2500 hertz cutoff frequency Butterworth filter. There is a 4-pole, low-pass, 2500 hertz Chebyshev filter with 3 decibels passband ripple. There is an example of the Kerwin-Hulsman-Newcomb, the KHN biquad. There is a KHN biquad with a summing amplifier. The KHN biquad has a unique property that it simultaneously provides high pass, low pass, and band pass outputs. And with an external summing amplifier, you can form any type of second order filter from the KHN biquad. That is, you can do notch filters or band reject filters. You can do all pass or phase shift filters. Any kind of second order filter is possible with the KHN and a summing amplifier. Okay, there's also a generalized Tau-Thomas biquad and a specific example of the Tau-Thomas biquad configured as a notch filter. There are also band pass, notch, high pass, and low pass filters using generalized impedance converter topologies. And there is a Sallen-Key bandpass filter design example. Okay, the Sallen-Key design worksheet is an Excel spreadsheet. It has 3 tabs, one for low pass design, one for high pass, and one for band pass. This is the low pass design. Here is a 4-pole low pass 2500 hertz Butterworth filter, the implementation in LT Spice. And this was designed using that Excel spreadsheet I just showed you. This is the frequency response of it. And you'll notice that in the pass band, the gain is flat and makes a smooth roll off heading towards the stop band. Here is a 4-pole low pass 2500 hertz Chebyshev filter, which was designed using the Chebyshev design tools that I mentioned earlier. In this particular circuit, its frequency response looks like this. So you can see that there is gain variation or ripple in the pass band. In this case, it's 3 decibels ripple. And you can see the transition towards the stop band past 2500 hertz. Okay. And here is the notch filter example of the generalized impedance converter circuit. This particular circuit here to the right of this dashed line is very interesting topology. This circuit uses 2 op amps and 5 impedances. And if you were to make either impedance 2 a capacitor or impedance 4 a capacitor, then this circuit appears as a synthetic inductor. So I have made here an LRC notch filter, but the inductor is synthesized by a capacitor and the generalized impedance converter circuit. And just for the record, there's its calculated frequency response with a notch, a band reject at very close to 1 kilohertz. All right. So let me put the wraps on this. The link to these resources will be in the description of the video that accompanies the description that accompanies this video. Okay. And if you find these resources useful to you or helpful, then by all means, leave a comment and let us know. All right. As always, we appreciate your taking time to visit with us. Keep those cards and letters coming, and we'll see you again very soon in another video. Thank you for your time.